The new year is just around the corner, and New Year's are exciting to me. I love to get a whole new year. It's like a present, and I don't know what's in it. There's also always a certain amount of not knowing when we go into a new year, just like the presents. We might have made a wish list, but we don't know if people stuck with it or if they freestyled. And there's always the risk of being disappointed, but most likely you'll get something that you really wished for. And the same goes with New Year's. We will most likely have a really good year ahead of us. But I've also learned that things might happen that will be a struggle. There might be health issues in your family, there might be financial stuff that you have to deal with, or other things that will just come up. And that's just life. Things happen that we need to deal with that we didn't expect, and most likely things will just come up. That's life, and it's simply just out of our hands. What we can do is take a look into the new year with some intentionality. Back in episode 30, a few weeks ago, I shared with you guys the habit that I've gotten into, where my rhythm is like every November, December, I sit down and I kind of look back at the year and just reflect a little bit on what has really worked and what was life-giving and what I want to bring with me into the new year. And the PDF that I created to help you work through those questions are linked in the show notes of this episode, but I also highly recommend that you go back and listen to that episode after this one, as this one kind of builds on those same principles. But now, let's look at the new year. And what we're going through today is planning, yes, but it's way more planning from our values, not scheduling. So when I look back at our year as a family, we try to hone in on what we've learned this year and what really worked and what we want to make sure that we really prioritize in the coming year. For us, time together is always highly prioritized, and we want a rhythm where there's just space to breathe. And we really want to maintain that weekly rhythm. We want Morten to keep working on his music, and we want me to keep doing this. And it might sound natural that we'll keep doing what we're already doing, but I mention them because choosing them both comes with some sacrifices as well. We are not making any money on either of them yet. So choosing both of them really affects what we're able to do in our free time and on vacations. But we both really feel like these are the things that God has put on our hearts and that He's asking us to step into. So we're going to keep doing it, and it's not without its ups and downs. But we choose to keep doing them and trust that He has a plan. Morten has an album coming out in the beginning of 2026, and I would love to do some kind of teaching. I love teaching and I love communicating and stuff. So doing some kind of a course, whether it would be online or offline, I don't know yet, but something like that would be fantastic. And we'll just have to see. You have to stay tuned. Something else that we really value is to go on vacations with friends. Last year, we went skiing with some friends in Norway, and that was so much fun. All 4 kids learned how to ski, and it was just really great time for us to spend together as families, and for Morten and I to spend some time with our friends' kids who are a bit older. And investing into other friends' kids is really something that we highly value. And then we also figured out that camps during the summer is just great for us. I think Morten and Max did 3 camps together. I did 1 of them with them. And they are just so extroverted, and they love all the things that go on camps. So we're definitely going to have to prioritize camps pretty high in this upcoming summer as well. And now that we're kind of touching on travel, let's talk about that for a bit, because we've always loved traveling, and my previous channel used to feature a lot of our travels, and we still love it. But it's also where a lot of the realities of life just come in. Kind of like that unexpected gift where you don't know what that gift will hold. because there's several factors in why we've traveled less in the past few years. Number one is that Max just doesn't enjoy it as much as we do. He likes his friends, he likes his handball practice, and having those siblings to hang out with when we travel, it's just not as fun for him. And it's always something that we take into consideration when we're planning trips. And that's probably why it also works really well for us to travel with other families. And of course, we still go just as a family, but just not as often. He loves being home, and having no plans is kind of his best case scenario. And we don't stay home every school holiday at all, but we stay home way more than we would if it was just Morten and I who were deciding without including him. But we are a family of 3, so of course we try to find a good balance that works for all of us. Number 2 is how we choose to spend our money, and also the fact that our income has gone down. And that's just a fact. And we chose to allocate more these years where Max is in school, to schooling and to housing. So there's less to spend on travel. And we knew that going into it, and it was a very conscious decision for us. And then there's just the general fact in the world right now that everything costs a lot more. And again, it's fine. It's just life. Number 3 for me would definitely be climate change. I don't like to fly as much. I actually prefer to either drive or try to take the trains. And I really could not look myself in the eyes, my future self, if I was just flying around the world all the time. Every person is different, but that's my personal choice. And that's a balance that Morten and I always try to navigate. He is in a band where 2 of the members live in Kenya, which is a little bit tricky. So we are kind of prioritizing that he goes down there sometimes. So that's kind of what our CO2 emissions are allocated to right now when it comes to flying. Number 4 is that we also really just enjoy to have the school holidays for recharging and decompressing. If we travel, we gain a lot of mental energy, but we're also so beat up when we come home. So we kind of just figure it out as a family that we don't like to travel every school break and then play catch up for weeks after that. That is just not worth it to us, but for other families, we know that it works. But for us, that bumps it down the priority list. So there's a lot of reality behind why we've been traveling a lot more sparingly these past years. And that is just life, and it's totally okay. And I don't want to say that too many times, so it kind of waters out the point. But it is just a fact that life happens, and we have to deal with sometimes just the things that life throws at us. And of course, we can go into it with different mindsets, and that's what we always try to do. But I think it's actually, was it a study that was done? I think John Mark Comer brought it up in a podcast or something, that we can only control 20% of what we think we can control. And that just makes me like take a deep breath and lower my shoulders a little bit. And that's why I keep saying that it's okay. So whatever your circumstances will be in 2026, I am absolutely sure that you'll be fine. And just lean back a little bit and know that God has everything in his hands. And then implement those habits that make you have that buffer to deal with those things when they come. So a lot of this was about travel, and it's just because it's something that we've done a lot previously. And I am itching to kind of get out there again and see something new. So we'll see. And we have been to Belgium, and we've been to Kenya, and we've been places. It's just going to be fun to see what is doable and what we end up doing. I think that it's great to plan and schedule in what Mark Sayers calls mountaintop experiences. And usually for Morten and I, that would look like traveling. At the same time, we value our everyday life very high. And most of life happens in everyday life. And that's why we pay a lot of attention to our weekly habits that are life-giving. We just want to keep creating and use the gift that God has given us. And we want Max to see us creating. I also really love time to dive into topics, and I'm definitely going to dive even more into screen time related things and something about neighboring this next year. As with everything else in life, Realistically, no one can have or do it all. So we have to prioritize, and that is actually a beautiful thing. Because when we prioritize and take a look at that, we become a lot more aware of what it is that we actually want and what our values actually are, whether you're single or a family. We get a better grip on our dreams and our core values. And in my experience, we end up enjoying what we have more, and we end up more grateful for what we do have because we chose it. And we might even have fought for it, and what we fight for just ends up holding a lot more meaning to us. So I hope that you'll protect what works and fight for what needs to be fought for in this new year. I personally cannot wait to see how this new year unfolds. But first, we have Christmas coming up. This is going to be the last episode or video, if you're watching on YouTube, of 2025. So I'm going to kick back and relax some and enjoy a slow Christmas with my family. And I'll see you back here in January. I want to say Happy New Year's, but I'm also very, very grateful that you've decided to join me this year, because 2025 for me will always be the year where I started a podcast and restarted back on YouTube. And that, my friends, is no small feat. So yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I'm really grateful that you're here. Merry Christmas, guys, and Happy New Year. Bye.